y'all. How's it going? Happy Tuesday. It is 2:02 currently on Tuesday, August, I think it's the 17th. Anyways, did not film anything yesterday. I was down here for a few hours. I did get my trim on my fridge box done, but that is it. I tried everything with these curtains, and I was like, you know what? I'm just too annoyed. I'm going to go home, and I'm going to go back to the drawing board. I was too annoyed to go back to the drawing board while I was here. So I thought about it last night. Yesterday, here, let me show you. I was trying to use these as spacers behind my curtain rods, which is literally just a piece of wood. I just wanted these to be like up against the wall because these are the curtains that I'm going to roll and then snap. So I was like, oh, maybe I should put like little spacers. So I was trying to use these as spacers. They just kept cracking. So when I went home and I went back to the drawing board, I asked my husband, I was like, could I use nuts for this? And he was like, yeah, for sure you could. Now, he told me that I needed to use my metal self-tapping screws. They're just way too long, so I ended up just using a couple of my like regular wood screws. Now, they're not all the way in. I was gonna see if I could hand crank them. They're pretty solidly in there, not even gonna lie. But this is what I have so far. I've been here, I don't know, since 1 or so. But this is what they're looking like. I do have my straps here with me, and I also have like all of my like leatherworking stuff so that I could do the what are these called? These are called snaps. I could do the snaps today. I even brought like all of my little snappy things and my clean hammer because there's not a fucking clean hammer in sight here. I also grabbed this. My husband's grandfather, my grandfather-in-law, I guess you could call him, is cleaning out his house, and I really wanted one of these for the bus, so I'm going to show you a few placements that I thought about for this. I am going to need to get myself like a nut and bolt for this so that it'll stay together, but I have a couple places that I want this to go, and I got my contour gauges yesterday, so you can see that one back there. I've already got it to the wall, but I have to figure out how to put it on a piece of wood because that's only, I don't know, I think it's like 30 centimeters long. So I have to figure out how to get all the pieces correctly together. But that's not a right now problem because I'm doing curtains. I also figured out another problem is that I really only need the curtain to cover this window. And it's a regular size panel, like it's a this size panel. So I might just do my snap system and then have a think about that and have a think about what I want to do here. I don't know if I want to just like continue it all the way down. I could do that really, but I just don't know what I want to do. So I think I'm going to focus on these two. I have these two up. I'm going to go get a screwdriver so I can like manually try to crank those in. And what else was I going to do today? I was going to tell you something else that I was going to do. Oh, and I got my trim on my box. Now, I cracked it. Shitty. I might fix it. I don't know. I really, really, really need to start in on my water system. I also really need to start doing bug screens for the windows because I have none of the windows open right now. I only have the door open, and it's hotter than a sauna in here. It's really, really hot, but yesterday I had so many mosquitoes in here, so sorry for such a quick cutoff. I had a visitor. I decided to leave in the sounds of my leatherworking. Hopefully it won't interfere with me talking, but I decided I wanted to show you a close-up of how I'm doing these. These are straps for my curtains, and you will see me later install them, but basically one of these holes is going to be for a screw into the wall, and the other hole will be for one of the snaps. And there's me checking, making sure I have not wrecked my counter. But this is what I actually enjoy doing in some of my spare time. A lot of my spare time is done creatively in a journal or planner. But this is my other hobby, and I took this up a few years ago. I don't want to call myself like a leather worker because I am not. I dabble. I make some planners, some wallets, things like this. I'm also going to use this green leather to make a strap opening for my garbage can door. I'd like to use leather when I can in here, just as like a little nod to one of my hobbies. This is something that I enjoy doing. It uses that creative muscle in my brain, but this green leather is actually one of the first leathers I ever ordered, which is hilarious that I found it in my little scrap drawer. So here is your permission from me to you to keep your scraps of whatever you're doing, because they could come in handy. But I've got my little snaps here. Now, one half of the snap is going to go on this strap. The other half of the snap, you will see I put on a little piece of leather because I couldn't figure out how to attach it just to the wall. So I am going to put on a little piece of leather, and I'm going to screw that piece of leather in so that the snap system will have both sides of the snap. And you will see me install that later, because today, on Tuesday, when I was first doing this, I was trying to figure out how to put the other half of the snap just in the wall, but I would have needed a screw with a very, very, very tiny screw head to fit into that snap opening, and it just wasn't happening. So I just did like a 2-part leather system to this snap, and it totally worked fine. You can see me testing the screw here. I ended up switching these screws out, and I ended up switching the screws out on my curtain rod that's up, because I think originally I started with 1.5-inch screws. On the curtain rod, I went down to 1.25 inches, and those fit fine. There must be a piece of metal behind there that it's hitting, and it's like really, really thick steel, I think, so it's not going through. And then for these, I switched to, I think, an 1-inch screw. So that worked much better. But yeah, I had to go on YouTube and figure out how to do these snaps. It's been a while since I've done snaps. I usually do an elastic on my planners. So I had the snaps. It's been a while since I've used the snaps, but I did bring all of my little toolies, but I had to YouTube University it. So I originally was going to use the magnetic snaps, and then I was like, there's no way for me to like do these. So I ended up switching to the brass ones. And I think I like those better because I have a lot of like copper, brass, golds. Now I have gold magnetic snaps, but I find the brass looks really good with the green. So I find lately with a lot of these like little projects like curtains or trim or flooring on the shoe cubbies, like these little projects, I don't want to be like, oh, I'm wasting my time, because obviously if we take the bus out for a trip, I need to have curtains. 1, so that in the morning we are not blinded awake, but 2, so that I can like change and use the bathroom and like all of those things in the bus. So like every single project is important, but these ones feel, I don't want to, again, I am not wasting my time. But compared to like, hey, I really, really need to do the water system in order to get this registered as an RV, in order to go on a trip, in order to move on with my fucking life, these feel like tiny projects, but I know that they're important. I know that they're important. I know that I'm not wasting my time. But again, I'm kind of like, girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, there's so many more things that you should be doing, but also like nobody needs to see me naked. So of course I need curtains. And I actually, when I got home today, I thought about it. I was like, geez, I need curtains for the front of the bus. I have windows all through the front of the bus too, and I can't put mirror tint or privacy film or whatever the case. Like, I need a giant curtain for the front of the bus, or one of those like blackout shades that go in the front window. But I also have that like skinny long window, and I also have glass doors, fully glass doors. So I have to figure that out too. You'll see that eventually, and it will not be a waste of time, because ain't nobody need to see me naked. way my bus is built is it's got this like white paneling on the ceiling, and then it's got this dark gray plastic, and then directly under the dark gray plastic is like one line of I don't know what type of metal it is, but it's a type of metal, and it's just above the windows. And it's not on the windows. Like, when I drill through this, I'm not at risk of hitting glass. Like, the bus window glass is, like, completely encased in the black metal, like, around it on the windows, like, the actual windows. But this light gray metal piece thing, I thought for sure it would be, like, thin something or other, but obviously underneath it is, like, thick steel or something, because I can only get just through the metal, so I need very, very short screws to go in here. I was having some issues, but figured it out. This one strap here is a little bit different. I actually screwed into that like gray metal, that light gray metal, but the other ones are actually in between the windows, which I figured out is actually pretty thin, I think, aluminum, and they're easy to screw into because that's what I screwed my other curtain hook things into on the other side of the bus. But screwing into the plastic was really, really easy. The hardest part was trying to figure out like where it went with the curtains up, and like trying to hold the curtains and hold the leather piece and hold the drill and hold all the things. Like I said, it's getting harder to do some of these projects by myself. I need like one more hand. One more hand would do me great. If I had a third arm sticking out like just underneath my right or left arm, that would be great. But you can see here like my little leather pieces. They're basically like an oval, and then in the very, very center of them is my other half of my snap. If you look at a snap, there's like one part that goes in the snap, and there's one part that receives the snap. I think I've got the part that goes into the snap on the actual strap, and then the like hole that receives the snap on my little piece of leather. On either side of my snaps, I have obviously screws, but that's what's holding my little piece of leather up. I'm hoping this will be fine. I'm hoping this will, like not deteriorate. Like one day I pull a strap to like let my curtains down and my little piece of leather just like pops off. I'm hoping not. But do you notice that my sink has something in it? Sheldon visited me. My in-law's neighbor is a plumber. He's also a really great man. He visited me and he helped me with my sink drain. Glenn and I were having a really hard time making a hole in this bowl. This bowl is stainless steel. $19.52, by the way. But it's stainless steel, gold. I don't know if it's like gold plated. It must be. Or painted, maybe. I don't know. But it was really, really hard to get through. And Glenn and I, we're just kind of dulling up our hole saws because our hole saws are for wood. And Sheldon came right over and he had metal hole saws, and we got right through it. We caught a piece of wood on fire. That was interesting, but it did it. And then he installed my drain in. So now I can actually like make the hole for it. Approaching.
I think you're seeing me this time.
Yeah. Glenn and I's ongoing joke currently is that every time he approaches the bus, he scares the absolute living shit out of me. And actually, not even 30 minutes later, I think my mother-in-law had come up on the bus and scared the absolute shit out of me, but that's besides the point. This is me doing all of my very technical measury things before I actually start drilling another hole into my counter. And to be fair, I did not drill the other big hole. Glenn drilled that. I did drill the little hole for my sink faucet. So I think this is the real reason why the bus is making me feel like a big fat fucking failure right now. For example, here's a great example. Glenn did this one, no problem, last week. I try to do this one. I'm on my third battery, which I had to go over and borrow from the garage. This is stuck, and this is smoking. Is it still smoking? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean the hole saw is stuck in the counter? I mean, the hole saw is fucking stuck in the counter. I can't get my drill to go through it. But Glenn did one, no problem. I did one, no problem. I did the one for the faucet last week. No problem by myself. So why is this one giving me a problem? I have no fucking clue. Anyways, I did my curtains. My curtains are up. I might go try to scribe the wall. I don't know how to do that either. I've tried that a few times. I can't wait. I can't wait for the water to be done, and then I can get the RV guy out here and we can just go on a trip. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't even need to be finished. But as soon as the toilet goes in, I can call the RV guy, and then maybe we can go on a fucking trip. School is approaching very, very quickly, and I do not want to go back. Not even a little bit. Okay. I'm going to try again. So I felt the need to just show everybody, to document that it's spinning fine when I press the button. There's no smoke coming out the back. And then I also checked the battery, because this battery is cool, and it's got this little, like, see, it's got three lights. It's fully charged. And then we're gonna see. Most of it was just like it spinning, and it, like, I don't want to say stripping the drill bit, but like it was just spinning. But the hole saw wasn't spinning, just the drill was spinning. And for some reason I was able to get it going, and I've since learned that apparently it's supposed to be on 1, and I'm not supposed to push on it very hard. So spoiler alert, I do end up getting this through the wood. It takes me about 13 minutes, but who's counting? Not me. I do end up getting this through the wood. It does end up going through crooked, and then it's really, really stuck. So Glenn comes over, works his magic, and he ends up getting the other side unstuck, which God bless him. But the smoking of the drill really freaked me out. So Glenn ended up bringing, like, the big guns basically over, but he didn't actually need to use it. Thank goodness. I ended up going back to the drawing board with the scribing thing, and I went right back to the beginning. I was like, nope, I'm going to go and get some paper, because the cardboard is too hard. The wood is impossible. So I'm going to start with paper. And then I just started with sections. So this scribe tool thing, this contour tool thing that I got is like, I want to say like the length of a ruler, like 30 centimeters. So I did it in sections. So I literally did it piece by piece. And that seemed to work very well for me. And I was able to like trim off tiny little slivers from the paper, which I don't know if any of you have ever scribed, but very, very hard to do with cardboard, impossible to do with wood. So ended up doing it with the paper first, made sure it fit, which was very hard to do, by the way, and then traced it onto cardboard, made sure the cardboard fit, and then traced the cardboard onto wood. And here is me, finally trying the wood. And another spoiler alert, sorry, it doesn't quite fit, and that is because I tried to like tack on a piece of cardboard and I just didn't tack it on in the right place. So I don't know if you can see, but that little the light and then the strip of metal up there doesn't quite fit. So I end up just kind of like marking where to cut it out. I go down, I cut it out, and I do end up getting a close enough fit, which I'm gonna take it. I am going to take it. it successfully scribed that like curve for the back wall. It is close enough. I will put trim on it, rope, some sort of like bus lifer, van lifer trick to like hide the tiny little gap that I still have. And yeah, so have that. I still am thinking that I'm going to do like the bottom of the wall with a scrap piece before I ever put it on my nice plywood. Here's the thing, plywood is very hard. Like a piece of plywood, no matter how big, well, unless it's like, you know, a larger piece of plywood, very, very hard to work with by yourself. Glenn still has to get a bunch done mechanically. He wants to check all of the tires, all of the brakes. He's not done he's putting in like support beams on the underside of the bus for the back body because there was none on the back. So like the back like piece was like flapping, so he's doing that. And like he has stuff to do, so it's very hard for me to ask him to be like, hey, come and hold this plywood, please. So, you know, and a big thing right now is that I like need stuff. I'm really super fortunate to have a plethora of people around me that like know how to do stuff, and one of those people is my in-laws' neighbors, actually both of them. The wife, her name is Janet, she sews, so she has actually offered to help me with my curtains, which is lovely of her, and I'm definitely going to take her up on that because they look like crap. And then the husband's name is Sheldon, and he is a plumber. He seems like he's a jack of all trades, but he's like trained as a plumber. So Janet had come over whenever I was here last on Tuesday, because the last time she's seen the bus, it was when I was doing the floor, I think, maybe when I had the toolbox in, but it's been a while. So she came over to peek in, and I was mentioning to her, you know, she's like, when's your first trip? That's a lot of people's question right now, is like, when is your first trip? The thing is, the bus is registered right now as a bus because that is how I had to do it, because there are steps in New Brunswick, unfortunately, that you have to take. And basically the steps are registered as a bus, so we have heavy plates on it right now. We have L plates on it. So like, for example, we went to the Sussex Flea Market this weekend, and there is a toll thing, not a toll thing, but it's for trucks. And if you're overweight, they ask you to come in and stop at the like weight station basically. So with L plates, like they could do that. If we were overweight, they could pull us in, but with RV plates, it's like different. But anyways, I know nothing about that, literally just what like I've heard here and there from like my trucker friends, and that's it. But anyways, register as a bus, which is what we did, and then when I'm done the conversion, I call public safety, a woman by the name of Natalie. She's very nice, very down to earth. She's the only person that I've talked to so far in this whole process that actually knows what they're talking about, which is lovely. She basically said, when I'm done, call her. She will send an RV inspector out, and he will come in, or they will come in, and they will say, you are missing this, or you need this. And she basically told me the 4 things that he looks for: place to eat, my couch; place to prep food, my kitchen; bed, obviously; and toilet. And she said that a porta potty would not work. I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it's like one of those camp toilets. I actually have one of those from when we were tent camping, and it's just like one that you put a bag in. I'm assuming that a composting toilet wouldn't be like classed as a porta potty, but Glenn doesn't want a composting toilet. He said that he would rather empty a black tank than empty a bucket, and like, mad respect for that. I'm fine with that. So my next logical step, bed's in here, place to eat is in here, kitchen is in here. My next logical step is to do the water, because I need a toilet, and the water will do the bath, the toilet, and the sink. So like, it'll set up, like it'll finish my place to eat kind of a thing. So I have my freshwater tank, I have my pump and filter, I have my accumulator. Sheldon came over yesterday because I had mentioned to Janet, like, the next thing that I have to do is water so that I can have a toilet, so that I can call this RV guy and say, hey, come and look at my RV, come inspect my RV, so that I can register as an RV, so that we can go on our first fucking trip. And I said to her, it's been keeping me up at night though, like it's been causing me a lot of anxiety because I've never done any sort of plumbing at all, like nothing. It kind of scares me. I'm really scared of like a flood freaks me out. My biggest fear is drowning. I know I wouldn't drown from like my toilet backing up, but you know what, you get what I mean. So I mentioned, like, that's the next thing I have to do. It's causing me a lot of anxiety. I've never really done anything. My friend Dylan mentioned that the only thing you need to know about plumbing is that shit runs downhill. And I'm like, no, pretty sure I need to know more. So she was like, well, there's a plumber right next door. And I had said, like, Sheldon's really busy. He's a really busy guy. He's always going. And she was like, he's not that busy. So sure enough, within like an hour, he comes over and he comes in and he opens up all my boxes and he sets up all my stuff. You can see it's on the bed, and he like lined them up and stuff and showed me like where my fill was on my water tank, and he fixed this. I didn't have this in right, and he actually drilled the hole in my sink for me because Glenn and I only have wood hole saws, but he had a metal one, so he drilled that in. He put my drain in for me. He put the hot and cold water lines on these, and he told me, he's like, I think I have an electric water heater that you can have. He said that he's got lots of PEX pipe. He said that he's got lots of like the PEX pipe like fittings, the things that like attaches the pipe and like tee off and stuff. And we like talked about it. We completely talked it through. We have a plan. Like I need to build like a little box here, which I was gonna do as a little step anyways, and I thought that would be easier to get the plumbing through here for the sink. And then I gotta build like a little box in the back at the back door for the plumbing also, so it's not just like out and about. But he was like, oh my god, no problem, like this is so easy. And like I'm such a blessed person to just be surrounded by people who know how to do stuff. And I feel much better, which is lovely because I've been having heart palpitations lately, and I have no idea if it's because I'm stressed about the things that I need to get done in here that I've never done, or if it's because I go back to school in 10 days, which I do not want to go at all. Not even a little bit. Usually I have like some excitement to like meet my new kids and get in my classroom, and David and I are going to set up our classroom differently, and like usually I have a little bit of excitement, and like yes, I'm excited to like set up my classroom, I'm excited to like move it around. But I went in the other day and they're putting in new air filtration systems, and they jut out into our classroom so much, and I have no idea how we're going to set it up now. If you don't know, I'm a team teacher, so I'm one of two. There are two of us. My co-teacher's name is David. He actually watches these videos. Hi, David. And we have a double classroom. And basically they just knocked out a wall. And it's really, really hard to set up a double classroom because it's long and skinny. So like our first year we had it long and skinny. And then and we only had it that way for like 6 months. And then the last year and a half we've had it so that we have 3 TVs set up, and the kids are facing like basically the long and skinny wall. But it's going to be really hard to do that. So I've been racking my brain on that too. How do I make sure that every child can see what I'm teaching? And, you know, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. I know they're going to sit us in meetings for 5 days, and David and I aren't going to be able to set up our classroom. I'm missing 3 desks. When I went in the other day, I'm missing a bunch of my desks. I don't know what else we'll be missing. We'll see when we go in, I guess. Our floor wasn't even done. I don't know why all of our stuff is back in there. But anyways, health issues aside, the bus is definitely coming along. These drives are killing me. I cannot wait until the bus is in our driveway. And Glenn basically said that once he gets like all of the things done where he feels he's fine to drive it home, which doesn't include the body work, he said that we can bring it home. And I think that'll be much easier because right now I'm driving here for like 30 to 40 minutes, driving home for 30 to 40 minutes. And the drive is killing me. And it's construction season, and we live in a really touristy part of the province. So lots of traffic, lots of giant RVs who can't drive the speed limit. There was construction this morning. I think I'm going to go home the mountain, which I never do because I fucking hate it. But it's just like things aren't progressing as quickly as I was hoping for. You know, and I feel like I need to be real with you guys about that because I don't know that people are like online. So this is just me saying I am a teacher from New Brunswick, Canada. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have a little bit of an idea what I'm doing. I've done some woodworking with my dad. I feel like I can YouTube university anything. I figure I can fuck around and find out just about anything. Plumbing makes me nervous. Even electrical doesn't make me that nervous, which is hilarious. I don't know why. But I just feel like things are progressing slowly. And I think once I get all of my stuff, because right now I'm buying one thing per paycheck. So like this paycheck, I'm gonna have to buy Actually, I was gonna say the black water tank. My mom and dad are still buying us our black water tank. They actually bought us a black water tank, but it was from a company on Amazon, the same place we bought our freshwater tank, and they like waited a month. Which what did this happened to me with something with my other sink that I bought. Yeah, my sink that I bought. They waited a month, and then they reached out and they were like, "Hey, we actually don't have this, so here's your money back." And I'm like, it took you a month to figure out that you didn't have this in stock. This has happened to me twice now with my sink, and then my parents ordered us a black water tank, and that happened to them. I have no idea. It's still on there. It's still on fucking Amazon too. It says there's like 3 left. I don't understand. But anyways, I'm gonna order something else, I think. And now I have to remeasure because Glenn did put those supports in, so I actually think I need a skinnier one. But yeah, they're like $200, and then this company that I'm buying from is from the U.S., which I fucking hate doing. But it's the only company that I can find them cheap enough. But it's $134 shipping now. It was $89 shipping like 4 weeks ago. I wish I had known that they were gonna put up their shipping, because. But anyways, I feel like I've been a Debbie Downer the past few videos. Please know that I am super happy with the progress. I am loving everything. The fact that the sink is sitting here, is it not so pretty? And just like, everything is coming together. Like, let's be clear on that. Everything's coming together. It's just going slower than I hoped for. I would have loved to have this done before I go back to school. I'm trying to reframe my mindset every chance that I can get. I keep saying, you know, like, even when I go back to school, it doesn't matter. We're still going on trips. It'll probably be better to go on fall trips anyways. It's hotter than the devil's asshole right now. It still is. So in September, October, it'll be cooler. It'll be a little bit nicer to go on trips anyways. But even if I go back to school, that does not mean that we cannot leave on a Friday night and come back on a Sunday morning. We can do that. And we're going to do that. But I was just hoping that I'd be done before school started, because I know when school starts, that will zap all of my energy. And I hate that about myself, and I hate that about my job, but it does. It takes up all my energy. I don't know if I just, like, give it all to the kids. Like, I want kids to love learning as much as I love teaching them. And it really doesn't often happen anymore. Like, it used to be that, you know, like 97% loved it and 3% hated it, no matter what, hated everything. But now it's really swapped, and you get like the 3%, and I'm just trying to like hold on for those 3%. But this is not a video about teaching. This is a video about the bus. And you saw I got my wall. I'm hoping that I can do that maybe on Saturday when we come down while Glenn is doing like other things. I don't know what else I need to do. Oh, that's when I'm ordering this paycheck. This paycheck I am ordering epoxy for this, and I'm going to epoxy this. So that, because it's 4 pieces of wood, so yeah. Hi, love. What are you doing?
Do you want to go down and get those glasses from Grampy's?
Yes. Anyways, sorry for the rant, but this is where we are ending for today. Thursday, August something. Curtains are up. Sink is sort of in. The wall is scribed, and things are just getting done day by day, piece by piece, kind of slowly. Thanks for being here, y'all.